Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. It's me, the Triple TC, that's the time traveling toy collector, and this is the Autobots Stand 5-pack, freshly out of the box, as you've probably seen in the previous video, and ready for action. In each of the next few videos, I'm going to look at one of them in particular and work my way through the whole set. So hopefully you'll stick around for that. And if you'd like to drop a like for the video before we get started to save yourself some time, and also a subscription to the channel, that way you'll never miss any of the upcoming videos looking at each of these iconic characters. Okay, well, assuming you've done that, and even if you haven't, doesn't matter, I'm just glad you're here to spend some time with me looking at these Autobots. First up, it's Autobot Jazz. Now, some of you may already know from my Studio Series 86 review that I did have a classic original Jazz, which is in a bit of a state of disrepair, sadly, but it is 40 odd years old, so that's to be expected. And Studio Series 86 was one of the key reasons I got back into collecting Transformers. Not the only reason, but one of them, because I was really taken with their take on the classic G1 models and utilizing modern day engineering to give us that sort of very clear aesthetic from the cartoon, whilst giving us the engineering of the modern age to really help give us the Transformers we couldn't have other than in our imaginations of our childhood. And so yeah, Jazz was one of the first of those that I picked up. And this, of course, as many of you will already know, is a redeco of that Studio Series 86 figure. This time, however, done with with a cartoon accurate colouring, even more so than was done in the Studio Series 86. Also, we are led to believe. One thing I will appreciate is the replacement of the translucent plastic with the blue colouring, because that already makes the vehicle mode a lot better. And that's just from what I've seen from other people. So let's get him up and in hand. Again, we can see straight away that our Jazz has a fantastic head sculpt. You can see there just how great he really looks. And again, with the colouring here, it's really something else. I really love I mean, again, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to go chapter and verse onto a figure that I have technically already looked at here in the Studio Series 86 line. This is really just to look at what he looks like here. And again, there's some the articulation is everything you'd expect it to be. There's some fantastic detailing on the figure itself. The colour scheme is, again, much more the cartoon accurate rather than toy accurate flavour. Which has its pros and cons, because it also means that it's, and we'll see this I think with Wheeljack when we get to look at him as well. Yeah, I think it does make for a slightly plainer vehicle mode, but I'm not sure that's a bad thing. You can see here his gun there, very nicely positioned and held. He's, as I say, very poseable figure. Backpack, not too much going on there, tucks away very nicely. I do sometimes like to have, certainly with the Studio Series 86 version, I have the doors open because it reminds me a lot of the G1 version. But here, for the sake of simplicity, I've tucked them away behind the backpack. Everything about it exudes G1-ness. The head sculpt in itself, I really, really like it. With the visor there and the grey face. It just has so much character going on, doesn't it? So yeah, we can see all of the detailing on the body. The legs have some fantastic detailing. We've got the articulated feet, nice grey detail, white detail. Everything. There's a bit of looseness here on I must say that the knees are not the tightest of joints in both legs on my copy. It might just be my copy, but it's something to be mindful of when you're holding and posing. And I hope it doesn't cause a problem when I transform. A little bit of gappiness there, but who's going to have him that way up? You're just not, are you? So yeah, I kind of like it. There's a little bit of hollow space here at the back of the legs and the back of the feet, but very minimal. And actually, because it's darker there, you kind of don't really notice. There's enough going on with the real trims and the feet and the other detailing that it detracts from that. So I would not suggest that's an errant problem with this figure. Let me just position him there. We can pull out slightly. But yeah, as one of the heroic Autobots, I think Jazz cuts a particularly fine silhouette, instantly recognisable amongst his compatriots. Again, I don't know if there's anything that's particularly different in the transformation. I've seen pictures of the car mode and what that looks like, but let's give it a go. So, Jazz, transform, and roll out. And here we have Jazz all transformed up into his car mode. And again, it's a really compact, really lovely transformation. It makes a lot of sense. It's very straightforward. There is one piece of the transformation that I always somehow manage to miss, and that is the second rotating part of the waist. There's like a gunmetal grey part which also needs to rotate, otherwise you can't get the arms in. And mine was quite stiff, so it added to my not being able to remember it was there, which was really annoying. So it took me slightly longer than it should have done, but all in all it's about a 5-minute transformation, if that, following the instructions, which are very detailed. Very nice. I mean, again, we're looking at Studio Series 86 Jazz, but a cleaner version in terms of all the decals, etc. And I really like it. I mean, he's lightweight. You know, what you see is what you get here. So there's no surprises. The cannon mounts on the top, but is optional. You don't have to have it there if you do not wish to. But yeah, he rolls, of course, as you would expect him to do. But yeah, he is everything you would want from a Legacy United version of Jazz. And I think it's up there with the Studio Series 86. I think the transformation, again, it's the same model to all intents and purposes. So for me, it's a clear win. As I think I mentioned in the previous video, Jazz was the only character in this version that I had previously purchased. I didn't have Sunstreaker or Hoist, etc. So for me, getting the 5 set was a no-brainer. Really like the figure, really like the alt mode. I'm not spending too much time on it. If you want to see a bit more time spent on it, you can watch the Studio Series 86 video. It's essentially the same vehicle and model and robot. But I love Jazz, glad to have him in the pack. Looking forward to getting on to Sunstreaker, a character I have never owned in any iteration. Hope you're enjoying watching these videos. Do please stick around for the next one, or go around and explore in the channel for something else that you might enjoy. Like the video, that would be great, and even greater would be if you could drop that subscription I mentioned earlier. Fantastic, thanks very much. But as I say, no problem if you don't want to. I'm just grateful you managed to spend the last 10 or 15 minutes of your time with me. I know how precious time is. You've been a fantastic audience. I've been the Time Travelling Toy Collector, and this has been this Transformers Legacy United Autobots Stand 5-pack Jazz. Take care, see you in a future video or a past video, and it just remains for me to say that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Bye-bye for now.